Hi everyone, my name is Branislav Berec. Welcome to Nithrania Game Club. You're watching a Game in a Nutshell, a series of videos where we teach how to play board games. Today we're taking a look at the Newton game from Cranio Creations. First, randomly place the ancient land tiles, university tiles, and city tiles. Then, depending on the number of players, randomly place the bonus tiles to these circular spaces with golden borders and with the corresponding player count numbers. We will set up a 3-player game, so these places with the 4 players icon remain empty. Using the exact same procedure, randomly distribute the bonus tokens also to this tracks board. Then randomly place the invention tiles, specialization tiles, and the objective tiles. Don't forget to put one of the objective tiles also to the maps board. Also put these medicine income tiles onto the map board with the 1 victory point side up, and place the remaining income tiles sorted by their type to the tracks board. And finally, place the development tiles sorted by their type on this tracks board as well. Now give each player a player board, 12 bookshelf tiles of his color divided into 4 groups of 3 tiles, which are placed face up on the player board, 12 travel cubes of his color, 6 start in action cards of his color, 4 master cards. Then each player gets 2 coins. Now place 1 student of each player to the starting spot of the technology track, 1 marker of each player to the start of the work track, another set of markers to the victory points track, and place the scientists to the Basel city. Put the 3 remaining students next to a player board. Finally, sort the action cards by their level, shuffle the decks, and draw 3 cards face up from each deck. And that's the end of the setup. The last thing remaining is to randomly choose the starting player who gets this Newton apple, and the game can begin. The game of Newton is played over 6 rounds. Each round consists of 5 turns, starting with the first player and then going in the clockwise direction. Each player takes 1 turn. On your turn, you must play one of the cards from your hand and place it to this area of your player board, which is called desk. Each card has a basic action symbol at the bottom and a special effect symbol at the top. When you play the card, you can play the basic action, special action, and then any other quick actions which we will talk about in a minute. And you can do them in any order. The value of the card you just played is equal to the number of symbols shown on that card on your desk. In this case, the value of this card is 2 because I have 2 book symbols on my desk. If later in the game you would have more symbols already present on your desk and you would play this action, the value of that action would be 4. You can reduce that value if you wish for no cost, and you can increase that value by 1 by spending 2 coins, and you can only do that once per turn. This is the first quick action. There are 5 basic actions in the game plus a joker card. And now we will cover all those actions in more detail. When you take the work action, which is this symbol, you can move your marker on the work track by the number of spaces equal to the value of your action. For easier orientation, you can find the work action symbol at the beginning of the work track. As indicated by this symbol, for each move you make, take 1 coin from the supply. If you stop your movement on these special spaces, you can activate those effects immediately. If the value of my action would be higher, 3 in this case, I can always reduce that value for free and move only 2 spaces. First, I would take 2 coins and then I can activate the effect of a tile. We will talk about these tokens and other special actions later in the video. In order to move into this last spot of the track, for which you also get a coin, you need to meet these requirements. This symbol says that in order to move into this objective tile, you need to have 3 green books and 1 blue book on your desk or on your MasterCard. That means I have to have those symbols visible here in this area of my player board or on MasterCards which I already played. Please note, book symbols here don't count. If you don't have enough book symbols on your desk, you can always use 1 potion as a replacement for 1 book symbol. So if needed, I can use 2 potions to replace 2 book symbols. And there is another quick action. If you don't have a potion, for 3 coins, you can always buy 1 potion. One last note to the work action. If you have your marker already on the last spot of the track, you can still take this action. You have no other place to move, but you can still take the coins for your movement. When you perform the technology action, which is this symbol, you can move one of your students on this technology track by the number of spaces equal to the value of your action. When you have your student at the start of the track, you can choose any of these 3 paths. Then you can only move forward and you cannot go back. When you get to a crossroads, you have to make a decision which way to go, and again, you cannot go back. There can be multiple students on the same spot. And again, similar to work track, when you end your movement on these special tiles, you can activate those tiles immediately and take the benefits. The only exception are these small circular bonus tokens, which you can gain and activate just by passing over them. When you pass over such token, you take it, activate it, and put it next to your player board. When you activate the special tile with this student icon, or when you take the bonus token with the student icon, you can take one of the students next to your player board and place him on the starting space of the technology track. In addition to that, at any time during the game, you can pay 5 coins to place one of your students on the technology track. Remember, even if you have multiple students on the technology track, you can only move one of them. You cannot split the value of your action between multiple students. There are 6 spaces on this technology track with this double line over here. When your student reaches this point, it's the end point of the track and that student will remain there until the end of the game. Similar to the work track, if you want to move into these objective tiles, you have to meet these depicted requirements. When you take the travel action, which is represented by this symbol, you can move your scientist along the routes on the map by the number of spaces equal to the value of your action. Remember, you can always reduce the value of your action for free if you need. If there is a price depicted on the route you want to take, you have to pay that price. Similar to the previous actions, when you pass over this bonus token, immediately take it and gain its benefit. Now, when you end your movement on these circular university spaces, or on these hexagonal ancient land spaces, or these city spaces, immediately take 1 cube from your player board and place it on that tile. You can only have 1 cube of your color on 1 tile. In addition, when you end your movement on the city tile and you place a cube on that tile, you can immediately take the benefit of that tile. When you take the cube from your player board, first take out these 8 cubes, and after you take out these 8, there are these 4 remaining, and if you take this one, you score 1 victory point immediately. If you place another cube, you would score 2 points immediately, and so on and so forth. As with the previous actions, if you want to move your scientist into this objective tile and place your cube on that tile, first you have to meet these requirements. However, unlike with the previous actions, this is not the end spot and you can still continue moving with your scientist. When you take the lessons action, which is symbolized by this icon, you can take one and only one card from these face-up cards, and the value of your action determines which decks you can use. If the value of your lesson action is 1, you can only take one of these available cards. When the value of your action is 2, you can take one of these 6 available cards. And of course, if the value of your action is 3 or more, you can take any face-up card. When you take a card, add it to your hand so it's available for you in the next turn. But do not replace the card you have taken with the new one. This will happen at the end of the round. At any time during the game, you can spend 1 coin to draw 2 more cards from any deck you want. This is another quick action that is available in the game. You can do it multiple times, so for another coin, I can draw 2 more cards from another deck. Again, all these cards remain in play until end of the round. When you take the study action, which is represented by this book symbol, you can take 1 tile from this supply and add it to one of these rows on the bookshelf. You can add maximum 1 tile, and the value of your action determines into which row you can place that tile. With 2 symbols, I can place a tile into a second row, or if I lower the value of the action, into the first row. In addition to these requirements, if there is a book symbol, you have to have that symbol available on your desk or on the master cards you have played. If there are multiple books depicted, you have to have them all in your desk area or on the master cards. Remember, you can always use 1 potion as a replacement for 1 missing book. In order to place a tile on these university symbols, you have to have a cube of your color on that particular university tile. The same applies to these 3 ancient land locations. You have to have your cube on that tile. If you don't have a cube on that particular location, you can always spend 3 potions as a replacement for a location. So, when you meet all the requirements, we can take 1 tile from this supply and place it on that particular spot. When you take these tiles, take them from top to bottom, and when you take the 3rd tile, you can immediately take this bonus. The goal of placing these book tiles into this bookshelf is to completely fill in rows and columns in the bookshelf. Once a column is completed, you will score this victory points at the end of each round. You don't have to place a book on these symbols, and you already have a book in this spot. So if I would place another tile to this spot, I would close this column and I would score 2 victory points at the end of this round and all subsequent rounds. When you play a card with this Joker symbol, you may choose any basic action and add all other symbols on your desk. So if I would choose the study action, this would be 1, 2, 3 symbols of a study action. You simply change the Joker symbol into anything else you want. Then you perform that basic action. If you would have a Joker on your desk already and you play another action, this Joker symbol is like non-existing. You cannot say this was the book symbol and now I'm playing a study action of 1, 2, 3. That's not valid. This action can only be played with a value of 2. Let's quickly recap all the quick actions you can take. For 2 coins, you can once per turn increase the value of a basic action by 1. For 1 coin, you can draw 2 more cards from any deck you want. For 5 coins, you can add 1 student to the technology track. And for 3 coins, you can buy 1 potion. In order to meet the requirements, you can spend 1 potion instead of a missing book symbol on your desk, and you can spend 3 potions instead of 1 ancient lad or 1 university. Once all players have played all 5 turns in a round, each player will perform the end of round procedure. First, take any card from those you have played and slide it under your player board, which increases the value of this action for further rounds but makes this card completely unavailable to you until the end of the game. Remember, the Joker symbol is only effective when you place that Joker, so it doesn't make sense to put him into these sections. Then take all other cards back into your hand, then score all the victory points from the bookshelf and move your victory marker on the victory score track, and also add bonuses which you might have on these 5 places on your player board. These could be additional potions, coins, or victory points. Then take all the face-up cards from the deck and put them to the bottom of the decks, and then draw 3 new cards from each deck. And finally, the first player token moves to the player to the left. After 5 rounds, you will have 5 cards under your player board, and there's 1 more round remaining. After the 6th round, the game ends. After you perform a scoring at the end of round 6, perform the end of game scoring. First, score the objective tiles and the master cards you have played. Mark those additional victory points on the victory point track, and whoever has the most points wins the game. Bonus tokens give you some one-time benefits. You can get a potion, certain number of coins or victory points, and you can place a student on the technology track. Or you can get their combination. When your student finishes his movement on this specialization tile, take the development tile of the corresponding symbol and add that tile to this place on your player board. This symbol will count towards the action value in your future turns. If this area would be already full of development tiles and you draw another one, you may decide to discard one of them and replace it with the one you have just drawn. Notice that unlike these bonus tiles, which provide the benefit to the first player who passes over them and takes that bonus, all other special tiles remain on the board. So do not take this tile away. If you end your movement on this specialization tile, take the corresponding income tile and place it on one of these 5 spots on your player board. At the end of each round, in addition to scoring columns and rows, you will also get these benefits. If you end your movement on this tile with the question mark, you can take any of these income tiles. Again, if all those 5 spots are already filled in and you draw another tile, you may decide to discard one of them and replace it with the one you have just taken. There is another income tile, it's called medicine tile, which you can find on the map, and it's associated with these 2 cities and icons with this medicine symbol. When you move your scientist into this city and you place a cube on that city, you take the tile and place it to your board with this 1 victory point side up. When you manage to visit the 2nd city and place your cube on that city as well, you don't take the new tile, but you flip your token on your player board on the other side, and now you will receive 3 victory points at the end of each round. Talking about the city tiles, we have already covered the first 2. These 3 give you an immediate bonus of coins, potions, or putting a student on a technology track, and these 2 allow you to spend 2 coins and place a cube on a university of your choice or ancient land of your choice. The invention tiles and the objective tiles use the similar icons, and for the explanation of other symbols, please look into the rulebook. And finally, the master cards. Remember, you start the game with 4 master cards in your hand. You may play a master card from your hand and place it face up next to your player board in these 4 situations. when you stop your marker on the work track on this master space. When your student arrives at this master space at the technology track. When your scientist moves into this master space on the map. And when you place the 9th tile to your bookshelf, you also uncover a master space. Again, I will not explain every single master card. You can find the explanation in the rulebook. So that's how you play the Newton game. If you have any questions or comments, please put them into the comment sections below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, and if you like the show, please subscribe. Until next time, my name is Branislav Berec and you've been watching Game in a Nutshell.